push for
Bronny is going to win.
Oh my God.
A ring.
Please.
Hey, I mean, we all grew up listening to hip hop, and we've heard several diss tracks, but
Tupac
none of
was
them
the
reached
best.
this. But it's never reached this level of it won a Grammy. Then it was featured on the Super Bowl, like the whole world, like he's dissing him in front of the whole world. I want to learn more about why we want to abolish the Department of Education. What does that really mean for our kids?
What are things that you would like to see us spend that money on in terms of the Department of Education for the kids?
Because people think, oh, but I want my tax return. Okay, dummy, you understand that you're getting taxes taken out of everything that you do all the way throughout the year?
I've been spending time in the dojo, doing all the things that they won't show. No spotlights on me, no photos, becoming the king on the low low.
Okay, so hey, I wanted to just I guess we could talk real quickly. I mean, there's not much to talk about the Super Bowl, man. It was just a full-on
really
beatdown.
isn't.
Full-on
Yeah,
beatdown.
not
I'm a
much.
Chiefs fan, hardcore. Been a Chiefs fan since I was 5 years old. Christian Okoye, Derek Thomas. I mean, back in the old days, yeah.
That was me.
Old school days. Huge Chiefs fan. You're a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I grew up in Kansas and then went to college in Missouri, so I was in both sides.
That was boring. I wish it was more of an exciting game.
Yeah.
Kind of tuned out. But it definitely wasn't the biggest thing that happened this weekend. Biggest thing that happened. Bobby actually came to hang out with us. To me, that was bigger than the Super Bowl. He finally came out.
What?
The
Super Bowl was
He
boring,
did.
and I'm
Yeah,
sorry the
Super Bowl
Chiefs
was.
didn't get that
It is what it
three-peat, but
is.
you've been spoiled.
At what time did you think the game was over? Because at halftime, I was like, no, this is the storyline. You know, he's going to come back Mahomes. Because if you score that many points in one half, why can't we? So I was like, surely they can come back.
So I would have been the same way. I would have started thinking. I was trying to find ways to think like that.
Yeah.
But then what happened was we had the ball 2 times in the last 2 minutes and didn't get any points up.
Yeah.
And so
No,
that's
there
when
was
I
no
realized
hope, no signs of life.
there was nothing.
No signs of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, and I told him I'm watching it with my son, and I was like, I can tell you what's going to happen. They're going to score, and then go in half, and then they're going to make that big rally on the second half. But then they got shut down right before it, and I was just like, dang, they're not getting no offense.
Three and out.
Because if they would have scored going into half, that would have put them at 13. I think 13 to 32 or something like that. That would have put us pretty. It would have been, and then we would have got the ball coming out of
28 to 6.
To
or
6.
seven.
Well, no, half was what? 24-0.
24-0. So it would have been 24-7.
Yeah. So
And that's doable.
But
is,
they wouldn't have scored that extra 7 because remember they did when Mahomes threw the pick.
Yeah.
And they got the ball back at the 13 or 14. So it almost could have been 17-7
yeah.
going into half. And then you're like, hey, we get the ball back, you score again, it's 17-14. Next thing you know, it's a game, but it just
Mahomes was off. The line was off. Everything was off. The routine wasn't there. The Eagles came with a game plan that just shut them down. I mean, they were backing our offensive line up into Mahomes, and he was just, you could tell he had the pitter-patter feet were getting to him. And just he had no time to throw the ball.
You know what? I agree with you to a certain extent, but I think that they were just playing really good because there was one time where he threw like an out route, and I mean the guy was open. It was towards
towards Hopkins.
Yeah. And he was open. The guy just like made an amazing cut.
Yeah.
The cornerback made an amazing cut and batted it away. They were playing
good.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everybody was firing. Everybody on the team. And you
was
never
their
see
night.
that.
It
The
was their
line
night.
was Jalen Hurts looked great. Saquon, the best player that they have, he only had a mediocre game, but everybody else was.
well, I think their game plan was we're going to shut him down and let someone else is going to beat us, not Saquon.
So the defense
and they did.
And a lot of other guys beat you. I mean, it really came down to, because I was talking about this on my other podcast before this, and I said it's going to come down to where we got to load the box to stop Saquon and stop Hurts from running. And if we load the box, that leaves Brown and Smith and Goddard out there by themselves. And so if you leave those guys out there by themselves, I mean, our DBs are good, but they're not as big as those guys. AJ Brown's huge for a receiver. Goddard's big for a tight end. Like it's gonna be very difficult to stop those guys. And so it's gonna come down to Hurts throwing the ball perfectly on a dime. And sure enough, he was right on target every single time. We had loaded the box. We couldn't, we stuffed the run. I mean, Saquon only had, I think, 23 yards in the first half?
Yeah, he was
something small.
Yeah.
So
Hurts had more rushing yards.
Yeah.
I think he had like 70 something.
Yeah,
And that
we
was the
did
most.
a good job of stopping the run.
Man, when he threw that 50-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Smith, I was just like, everything is working right.
Yeah, it's fine.
And they didn't even need that. They were just like, here, just to shut up and go home.
Yeah, they were giving him the protection because they couldn't get to him without blitzing.
No.
And obviously, when you blitz, you leave people open.
Yep.
And he found them, man. It was their night. But you've been spoiled.
Oh, we have been.
You've been spoiled.
Like, and that's the funniest part. I've got friends that are Raiders fans, Niners fans, and they were like, "Oh man, you seem awfully quiet today." I said, "Shut up, man. You've been at home fucking for 4 days, fucking 4 weeks at home already, fucking sitting on the couch. Shut your fucking mouth."
Yeah, no, Chiefs Kingdom has been a true dynasty. It's been, you guys have, and it's not over yet. I wouldn't say it's over yet.
It's not over yet.
No way.
But I think what we've run into is Kelsey getting older. That's one. He's, obviously one of the leaders on the team. Mahomes, to me, what scares me about Mahomes is he's great with the scrambles. He's great with being able to ad-lib the play. But the problem is that I don't think he can have a career like Tom Brady where he plays into his 40s. His style doesn't allow that. Like the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, they're not going to play till they're 42, 44, 45 because their styles of running and taking shots won't allow it. And it goes for most of the new age quarterbacks. I mean, who's the kid that was from the Commanders?
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Like these kids, like they can run. They're fast. They're explosive. They can make plays happen with their feet. It makes the game so much more exciting to watch. But the thing is the career longevity of it's just not going to happen. They're going to take a lot of shots, in the open field. Now I know they're protected. Quarterbacks are protected. We see it all the time. But it's just more wear and tear on the body, having to make those runs. So I've always felt like you told me a really good stat though that I didn't know about. But I was always like, hey, if Brady's got to get Brady, he had longevity because he was a pocket passer. And anytime someone tried to rush in on him, he would just kind of curl up into a ball and hit the ground himself. You saw last night, and I know it was a Super Bowl, but even before, Mahomes is not that guy. Like he's hesitant to slide. He's someone that will go ahead and try and get that one extra yard, and it'll sometimes cost him. It's something that I think in longevity wise, he's going to have to win all of his Super Bowls here in the next 6 to 7 years if he wants to try to beat Brady. Whereas Brady had, like you said, he didn't win number 4 until 10
what
years.
I saw this morning was, so Mahomes and Brady both got to 3 Super Bowls. Brady was 28, Mahomes is 29. And Brady's fourth didn't come till 10 years later from what I saw this morning.
See?
And then he won on that second run. So he almost had like a few careers within his day. It wasn't just one career. He had like these 3 eras. And so he ended obviously on a high note, winning several more. Yeah. But it took several years to get to that point. Yeah. So maybe they had to rebuild the team. They had, whatever it is, it was about longevity. And as you say, being able to survive. But, yesterday, I don't know who could have, done anything back there for the Chiefs. You could have put any of the top quarterbacks back there. If you're not getting protection.
No, I agree.
You're not getting anywhere.
No,
so unless they fix that, doesn't matter who else they put on the field. Man, you're in trouble.
No, I agree. I mean, like his offensive line was just getting pushed back into him.
Yeah, with just 4 guys. No blitzing. I don't think they blitzed once. The other stuff I saw today, they didn't need to because those 4 were just bullying.
Yep.
Their way in.
But this is the thing, though, as I go back to, Brady never had, their roster never spent the most money. They were able to get by because Brady was so good. So I see that the Chiefs have been, as of the last couple of years, been getting away with it because Mahomes is so good. But you're going to have to find a way. Like, does the quarterback, because Brady was never once the highest paid player on his team. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
He was never once. Whereas Mahomes can't say that. But when do you?
Yeah, but Mahomes is also like the 10th highest paid quarterback or something.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying though is, when do you say, hey, I want to chase Brady's Super Bowls and take less money to surround myself with higher
he's done
level?
That already.
Yeah,
so he's doing it a little bit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying.
He
He's
can't
doing
buy
it a
the
little
whole
bit.
team.
What's that?
He can't buy the whole team.
No, he can't buy the whole team. But I'm simply saying, like, when do you kind of make those adjustments enough to where you have a better offensive line? I mean, where you have...
He's already done his part.
Where you have a running back.
He's not even near the top highest paid guy.
Yeah.
Not
Not
even
anymore.
close.
He's giving a
Brock
lot
Purdy's
of
going to get more than him when he gets his new contract.
So
All these guys
crazy.
are making more than him. Dak
That's
Prescott
crazy.
makes way more than him.
That's crazy.
So he's already done his part. They just haven't.
Remember his deal? His deal was like $550 million for 10 years.
We thought it was
That's
big.
not a lot.
That was
We-
huge. It seemed like it was a lot.
That's not
Damn.
a lot.
Now there's pocket change.
That's what. But they knew that, you know, relatively speaking. Obviously, I'd take that tomorrow or right now actually. But relatively speaking, they knew that would be a very team friendly deal as it aged, and it's benefited them. But perhaps they just haven't picked the right guys. I don't know.
I think what he needs is Tyreek Hill style person, somebody that's quick that he can get the ball off to really fast.
They had no deep threat this year at all.
But they just need somebody that they can get it to quick.
Which is crazy
and
because
be a
Worthy's
huge
super
threat.
fast. They just haven't found a way to really use him. I think it's because he's so skinny, so small and
be.
skinny. He gets bounced off the ball or off the line. He gets control at the line. So, I mean, overall, look, they'll be back next year. That's the great thing about it is, you know, let's see what adjustments they can make. They've got a great coaching staff. They'll make the adjustments. Bottom line, though, is can the Eagles keep it together? That's the other, like, look, it's one thing to win it, but you see it all the time, whether it was with the Patriots, whether it was Denver Broncos, when it was Elway, no matter what it was, Jim Kelly and, you know, the Buffalo
They were
Bills.
just there. So
Yeah.
I think they won't be just a flash in the pan. I mean, they
Yep.
could have beat the Chiefs a few years ago, right?
But I mean,
were
they
just right
did
there.
they did give up. I mean, like what? I don't know what did they give up for Barkley?
I'm not sure.
Not sure either. I can't remember.
I don't think it was a lot.
You know, but regardless, I'm saying, but like being able to hold this together is never easy because a lot of egos get involved after you win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
You know, we've seen it time and time again. So we'll see if they can hold it together, man. That's gonna be the sign of true coaches and leadership at the coaching level as well as player level, being able to hold them together.
Sure.
So
I'm just bummed the game sucked, and
Yeah.
just from a pure fan perspective, I just wanted to see. I had no dog in the fight, but I just wanted to see a good game.
Yeah.
And it seems like more people are talking about the halftime show than
yeah.
the actual game.
Yeah, what was your take on the halftime show? I didn't think it was bad. Everyone keeps saying it was dog shit. I was like, it wasn't bad. I was like,
They wanted more fireworks. That's what it is. I think
Yeah.
they just want to see fireworks. They want to see, oh my God. He's a lyricist. He's a great rapper, and he went out there and did what he does. And people just wanted to see the spectacle. They wanted to see Super Bowl. Let's see a lot more of this, that, and the other, or bring some people in. Like, I was debating whether or not, I said, you know what would have been the coolest thing? Is he would have brought Drake out.
no,
Jeez. And squashed the beef in front of the whole country.
That would have blew up.
No.
Because he could have he kept teasing it. He could have switched the song around a little bit.
No,
And the
everybody
song
was watching that for him to see if he's gonna man up and call Drake out like he was, because that's what
calling out from what?
the whole beef thing, like between them.
Beef.
somebody needs
Bro,
to,
that
but-
was
bro. Someone needs to check on Drake today. Like how
Drake-
people were checking on me to
oh,
see how I am after the Chiefs lost.
Nah,
okay,
you
so-
know,
you gotta
what-
check
what-
on Drake.
No. What did Drake do? Didn't he had some kind of like bullet, like some vest on?
Yeah,
the
he had
whole-
a- he had a
Bobby,
sweater with bullet
to put
holes.
it in perspective, okay. This, diss tracks are usually, I mean, we all grew up listening to hip hop and
Yeah.
we've heard several diss tracks, but
Tupac's
none of
was
them
the
reached
best.
this, but it's never reached this level of it won a Grammy. And then it was featured on the Super Bowl, like the whole world, like he's dissing him in front of the whole world.
He should thank Drake at the end of it. Say, Drake, you made me took me to another level. It's Drake, and that's why. It's not because it was him. He could have did diss track to anybody. There's been some great diss tracks on there. Go on TikTok. Some of these. There was one guy that I saw. He dissed like a bunch of rappers, and I was like, this is incredible.
But to the level, the level it reached, winning a Grammy. None of those diss tracks are even up for a Grammy.
But how much?
Or
Drake.
being played at the halftime of the most watched event of the year in this country.
It's Drake.
They're saying their
It's
their
Drake.
beef
I'm
is
just
the
saying,
biggest
like,
beef in hip hop since Biggie and Tupac. Like, I'll send you a link.
Okay, you
They
said
break
since.
it down.
I was
No,
okay. Go ahead and say
when they break
since.
it down, like you're just like, oh, like they say that Drake is like kind of more of a pop kind of guy. Kendrick is obviously more of a lyricist.
Yeah.
And then the stories that Kendrick was telling, I mean, it's just going at it. I'll send you the link. Is
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
we can hear
It's,
you.
it's
Make sure we're not
okay.
getting-
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's okay. I mean, Drake made him. Drake made him. Drake made him.
Okay, but then he took it, and I'm not.
He ran with it.
again,
to run
to
with
reach
it.
the levels. Hit 'Em Up by Tupac did not win a Grammy
Oh,
or
you
get
can't
featured at the
you
Super
can't
Bowl.
compare.
Different time
You're right.
frames.
Yeah,
man.
completely
but
They
different
didn't want to
time.
give guys back then
Man,
that
that
type of
song-
accolades.
So at least acknowledge how
But
the work he did, the way he made it appropriate to be.
But
even
how
in that-
how much stock are we going to put into the Grammys these days? Beyonce just won country song or whatever the year.
Oh, no,
Let's be
but-
real.
Sure, but to
Let's
still
not put
be,
too much stock into this stuff
No,
anymore.
but a diss track. No, but a diss track has never reached these levels of mainstream appeal. Never.
But there's also
you
social
will lose
media.
that argument.
There's
I'm not
social-
saying it's the
there's-
best ever,
there's social
but
me-
this reached the highest level ever.
Okay, there's social media aspect because like what was the biggest thing on his? He was talking to him about messing with younger girls. That's what his big deal is, which is bad. But that's what the song was really about. Okay, Tupac started out. The first line of the song goes after what he done to. That's why.
Yeah.
That was hard. And then he went in it and then he just dogged everybody. So as far as like how hard the song is, you ain't gonna beat Tupac's diss track.
No,
But as
Kendrick
far
was more
as-
subliminal.
Who
for
made
sure.
more money off the song?
Well, if you're talking about
You're the big money guy, right? You love hearing about how much did this guy.
I'm
right?
glad it's not
Okay.
me right now. It's finally
No,
not
but
me. You got
it's
Rich,
okay.
you
Is
that
got
not
Bobby.
true?
Okay, who do you think is a bigger star, Tupac or Kendrick? Even
Well,
right now, if you went through and asked everybody, who do you think would be the
Kendrick's in the
biggest star?
infant stages of his career.
Correct.
He's just.
I thought you weren't in on this.
I'm just simply saying, like
You
can't-
just came on this.
You
because
got to
you're like,
compare
"Ooh, here
apples
goes
to
the-"
apples a little bit here, not oranges and apples.
How
Like,
long has
it's-
Kendrick been around?
I mean, he's been around
10
for a
years?
while, at least, yeah.
At least 10.
And granted, Drake did pull him on to his tour, and that kind of gave him shine, Kendrick shine. So yes, he kind of helped start him out, but yeah, you can't compare him to Tupac. Like,
Yeah,
Well, if Kendrick
Not
were
never.
to be
Not never.
murdered tomorrow, it might change. I mean, the fact
If
that
Drake
Pac ain't
murders him-
around, I mean, that's helped. That the legend, obviously, you can't deny they're not with us anymore.
Tupac songs were Tupac.
Is
is-
it just
Tupac
because
was more of a
it's-
lyricist too,
yeah.
though.
I
Is that
know,
just
but
because
his,
it was our
his
era?
songs are
Like
gonna live
people
on.
aren't listening to Tupac songs. Like we didn't grow up dancing to Tupac songs in the club. He was more of a lyricist, like Kendrick too.
I know, but some Tupac songs are generational. Which song do you think of the Kendrick Lamar songs? Do you watch the halftime show, right?
Yeah.
How many of those songs did you know?
Just the one.
Most
See,
of them.
I knew most of them but somebody
No.
like you knew
My
the
kids.
one.
No, so
That's it.
because they just.
I've actually been
blasted it out
to
of this.
a Kendrick show. A friend of mine did his entire all the visuals for one of his tours.
Yeah.
And so we actually, when he was in Oakland, we went. Travis Scott. This was years ago. Travis Scott opened,
Yeah,
and then my wife and I went to see Kendrick, and then that kind of made me a fan. And,
Yeah, Kendrick's dope.
And my kids actually really they're just running around the house singing, Kendrick lyrics, like Ollie's just like A minor, like just randomly throughout the house, and he'll ask to play it. My daughter was singing lyrics, so
Oh, no.
I guess they like Kendrick, but. Hey, he's great. The halftime show was all right. I thought
was.
it's not as bad as people say, but it also didn't blow me away. It wasn't
No, it
like
didn't
the
blow
most
me away.
entertaining thing I've seen. But
No, I think what it was the anticipation of him playing that song.
Yep.
Him
Yeah.
singing that song. That's
Is
really
he-
what it
is
came.
and him
gonna do
saying
it?
straight
Is
to
he gonna do
camera,
it?
"Hey Drake,"
yeah.
like that was dope. I like that.
I mean, ultimately,
Does he get
it's-
sued? I mean, he's already getting sued, but I'm like, does he go even further because he's saying it at the
Yes.
Super Bowl?
Probably because because Kendrick was also saying like, I know that I might get sued, whatever, and then like a little bit later, he says, "Fuck it," and he did it.
Wow.
Hey, Drake, do you mind if I play that song on there?
Oh,
Hey.
Bobby.
How about you pay me a little bit of money?
Would you
Hey,
be
whatever
surprised
you want.
though? Come on,
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
you're in
That's-
the industry that celebrates feuds and
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
That's the
that's
smart.
what
That's the
sports are.
smart.
Hey,
play.
what are
That's
you
how we
trying to
get at
say?
it. Sports entertainment. We're the only ones that say it for real. Nobody else says it.
Life is
but
pro wrestling,
entertainment,
right?
It is.
Maybe they called
Sports-
each other right after and said,
Sports
hey,
all the
man.
way across the board. It's all about that entertainment aspect. That's what we're talking about right now. The Super Bowl. It's all about money. $8 million for a 30-second commercial. It's all about entertainment. Asses in seats, and that's all. That's what it's all about. Like Luka
So-
going to the Lakers.
They're making a push for
Bronny is going to win.
Oh my God.
a ring.
Please.
Hey, I hope he does. He's actually making the most of Daddy's hookup.
Yes.
Now they got Luca too. So
Yeah, Luca, he's gonna win a ring this year.
Dallas just be giving things away around here.
He's gonna win a ring.
But
with
you heard
his dad.
the thing about that, supposedly, like she's trying to make it so bad so that way she can sell
Sell
the
it,
team or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I don't know.
A little
But they
conspiracy.
have, yeah. I heard like the conspiracy. They have to decrease the value of the Mavericks so they can be able to sell it and they can move to
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas,
Yeah,
right?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Dallas is a much bigger market than Vegas. It's not like we're in Oklahoma City.
But supposedly she likes gambling and wants to do a casino.
That was the whole. That was the whole
yeah.
reason why Mark Cuban had to get
They
out.
wanna
was
build
'cause
it
they wanted
here.
to build they wanted to build a new stadium, but they wanted to have a casino attached to it with a hotel and everything.
Right.
And then the city said no. But
It was
now,
bad.
Greg Abbott is on that train a little bit. He's talking about allowing gambling to be allowed in Texas.
the Vegas numbers, when you look at how they're doing with their economy, and it's not great. They're not growing. They're actually declining.
Yeah.
Whereas Dallas is blowing up. So if you're thinking about it,
Yeah, okay.
this is the place to be for business,
true.
not going to Vegas with the team. But who knows?
I guess
Who
a lot
knows?
of
Who
people don't-
knows what these billionaires are thinking?
Yeah, I guess a lot of people they don't understand that. So good to hear that perspective because I thought also I was like, oh, of course, Vegas is Vegas. They're going to be doing big shows, but I mean, WrestleMania is going out there.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a pretty big deal. So who knows? I don't know what they're doing behind the
But
scenes.
Vegas as a whole, I don't think is like it.
It's on the
Every time I
decline.
go, I hate it.
I think this year they all the casinos brought in a lot less money than they did last year. I just looked at some stats from a pretty reputable source. It was some news outlet. They said they're down like 20% or something from
They got to offer something
revenue.
else out there.
Yeah.
It's because even I used to love to go in Vegas. Now I'm like,
But see, there's also more sports betting in different states now. You don't have to leave. You can just stay at home and save all your money. And I've also heard from people that live in Vegas that they're just not taking care of people like they used to, like the properties and the casinos. It's not like it used to be. So
Yeah, they used to give away a ton.
correct. Yeah, they're not taking care of people like that anymore. So you might as well just stay at home and gamble from home
Yeah.
on the game. And yeah.
but getting rid of Luca, that was man. I heard there was like people out in front of the owner's home. They were like, we want to take you down. Luca was it.
Yeah, he was a son
Why
of
would
Dallas,
you get rid
man.
of Luca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People naming their pets after him and stuff. Probably some kids named Luca in this city. But
Yep.
yeah.
I guess I wanted to shift because we're talking about, the economy's not doing well in Vegas or the market's not doing as well. But I guess what's real popular right now, and just in the last 2 weeks, has been this Doge talk. So all the stuff that the government efficiency is looking into. And I guess I'll just list off a couple things. It says $7.9 million to teach Sri Lanka journalists how to avoid binary gender language. $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. $4.5 million plus to comfort disinformation in Kazakhstan. $1.5 million, the art of inclusion of people and disabilities. $2.5 million, sex changes and LGBT activists in Guatemala. $6.5 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles. $2.1 million to help the BBC value the diversity in Libyan. And
Yeah, we get it.
it goes on and on.
We
It
know
goes
where
on
this
and
is
on.
headed.
It goes on and on and on and
Isn't
on.
that called money laundering?
Yeah. So I mean, look.
I
There's,
know.
I mean,
That's what I was gonna say. Like,
I mean, look, there's 16.8 million in separate inclusion group in Vietnam. There's 20 million in group related to key player in the Russian Gate impeachment hoax.
Yeah, you can go
I
on
mean,
and
it
on.
goes
The
on
list.
and on.
Yeah.
And, but those are some of the bigger ones, but
this is what I don't understand with it. Was that spent money or was that allocated money? Like, did it just go into and then so that's the first question. The second question was somebody sitting down saying, "All right, how much do we need to go to send over here?" and then write it down because somebody had to put that down somewhere.
Sure.
And then if they put it down, was it just under lock for no one to see? Could we not see what our
Well,
government's spending?
Like, for example, that's a good question because, for example, like the president of Ukraine is saying now that we've cut him off, now he's all being open about everything. And he said, all that money you said you gave me, I didn't get it all.
Sheesh.
Right? They're missing billions of dollars. He's like, I don't know where it went. So that's a good point that you bring up. Did they actually get the money or was this just committed to him?
Right.
And did they actually get it? Because Like it just feels like a money laundering operation. Like
It does.
Where did the money go?
Yeah.
Who's actually getting the money?
But this is just one department of USAID. So that's one department of just billions of dollars being basically sent out there into the abyss, and no one knows where it's going. There's no accountability for it. But I guess what I'm getting to is, if I'm a mother, a single mother or single father, and that one time I couldn't put my kids in sports because I couldn't afford it, the one time that I couldn't buy my kids what they wanted because I couldn't afford it, and because you guys are taking taxes after taxes after taxes, and to know that there's this much waste going out the door, you've got to be fucking irate. You've got to be pissed. You've got to be, as a single parent or a single mother or a single father or just a fucking, even a family.
I'm
just
pissed,
in general.
and I'm not a single father.
And you just can't, and you can't afford to do the little things that you want to do with your kids, because like I can't take my kids to Disneyland because it's fucking $150, a person, and to travel there is ridiculous prices, and you can't take your kids, and your kids want to go, but yet we're spending and wasting billions of dollars every year. Some of this money is, and not, it's got to be closer to $1 trillion.
Yeah.
It's got to be closer to $1 trillion. By the time this whole thing is said and done, it's got to be closer to $1 trillion.
Sure.
So
how do you, there was, okay, if we're going to this route, we're going to have
Well,
to
look,
go.
the good thing is like you said, they're looking into it now, the current administration, and they're trying to get answers and making changes.
This is just the ones that we just read off was just USAID. I mean, that's not counting. Like, let's just talk about our military spending. And I'm all for the military getting all the spending that they need to make sure that we stay safe. But man, there's got to be tons of wasteful spending in there. Tons. I mean, there was a couple things that I read in there. They spent $13 million on or $12 million or $13 million on fucking some cinnamon coffee K-cups. That's what they were spending on an annual $14 million on coffee K-cups. You kidding me? Really?
That was military?
No. This is the government. This is part of that USAID thing as well. So I'm just simply saying there's a lot of spending of just things that.
Well, isn't
it was $1,200 per cup, like those little paper cups you get at Costco.
Yeah,
those little paper cups, $1,200 a cup is what they were spending. So where is that money going? If that's true,
then I'm with you. That's got to be some laundering there.
It absolutely is.
We just have
someone's
to,
benefiting.
We have to move
that.
numbers. We have to move numbers.
But I think what we're seeing now is a move away from. They want less government, right? Yeah. I mean, they've already gotten several tens of thousands of government employees to resign, right? They've taken the buyout, and I've heard Trump say, "Hey, I want more. I want less government and more private sector." They want to abolish the DOE, right? Which I'm curious about.
Me too.
People are up in arms. Like, I don't know enough.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about why we want to abolish the Department of Education. What does that really mean for our kids? And are we okay because we're in Texas? Because now they're saying each state should run their education system.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I feel like we're in a good state for that.
Yeah, I think so.
But, there's a lot of things happening that I think it's getting rid of, like, less government.
Yeah.
Because of the spending.
Well, what the DOE, the Department of Education, what you have to remember is that every state pays a certain amount of money every year to the federal government, and that money goes back into them pouring more money into supposedly to educate our children.
Right.
But if you were to actually leave that amount of money, I guess every state is different in what they put in. But I mean, I believe ours is somewhere around like the $68 to $70 billion a year is what we pay the federal government to put into
Texas?
Texas, to pay for our schooling.
Yeah.
And it's not as if we've gotten better. The schools actually have gotten worse here in Texas as of in the last probably 15 years.
Right.
So
right. So the argument I hear for abolishing it is that we're suffering.
Yes.
And we're declining because we're part of the federal system.
Yes.
So if we get rid of that and just, Texas just runs its own education system, we'll actually be better off.
So now
in theory,
that money that we give to the states or to the federal government will actually just stay here in the state. Now we've just got to learn how to allocate it ourselves for the schools. Now, Bobby, we've talked about this before. What do you do with that money? Like, we're obviously not happy with Common Core math. We're not happy with the results in which we're getting. We've talked about before. How do we raise the education level for our kids. We bring back wood shop class, bring back mechanic class, bring back, maybe some coding, bring in some coding classes, bring in hands-on small group classes of learning. You said like we shouldn't put that responsibility on the teachers. Well,
no.
You said bring in professionals to do it. I remember you saying that.
No. That's what you guys were saying. I don't think, like, for me, I like it almost like an NIL deal where we can like really pump more money into to teachers and have the teacher. I'm just saying that I don't think that we should be teaching it's hard because I don't think that we should be teaching our kids stuff that they don't need. It's hard, man. When you think about with education across the board, our technology is changing so much. Like, and this is really.
What do you mean by what they don't need? Like, you shouldn't teach them history. You shouldn't teach them,
for example, like cursive. Okay.
No. There's a direct relation to cursive to how a kid's develop, how his brain develops. Also, too, kids that
can find other ways to do it.
No, kids that actually there's a direct relation. Also, kids that are not autistic, but kids that are dyslexic. They actually learned way better by 80% on learning cursive because it actually changed their thoughts together. So them learning also too, if you don't have a cursive, what is your signature?
Well, you could do print signature. You could make up a signature. Signature is nothing. My signature is not.
I understand what you're saying, though.
Okay, so what you're saying right there. When I put my kids, when we started school, we went to a Montessori school because they were teaching different ways to do it. So it was almost the same way. They were teaching. Like I remember my daughter had something where they had like little eggshells, and she had to like tweezers and put it over there. Where they were working a different way to work those same motor skills as you would say with cursive and everything like that, which can do all the same thing. But what they're doing is they're focusing more on, I need to teach you how these letters go together. We don't use it. Like I had to fill out some paperwork the other day and I was like, you guys don't have it on the computer? Like I can just type this thing in. I got to like write this stuff out.
I understand what you're saying.
To write out.
Yeah.
You're like, you got to write all this stuff. Like technology has changed so much. Like, should I teach my kid how to use the Rand McNally? The old, so at some point we're saying, yes, they need to kind of know, because if not, we're going to be completely controlled by computers and AI and everything like that. But at the same time, should we teach our kids something that is more beneficial for them than some of the things that we think, because I was young and we need to learn this and we need to learn these different things, or are we tell them to move on? Like with Common Core, I don't know. I think sometimes when we start like getting away from the simplicity of things, we almost make it even more challenging, more and harder. I think certain things you need to learn. And what I tell my kids, and I talk to them, I'm straight with my kids about stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let your mom get on top of you guys about these grades, about these grades. What I want to know is you have the ability to learn. I don't give a damn what you, like if you know what year so-and-so happened this, I don't really care. If you want to learn about something, then sure, we can talk about it. We can go into depth about it. And if you get on Jeopardy, you might win. But I want my kid to have the ability to learn, because there's certain things out there that I'm like, after you graduate, if you want to go to college, my daughter's in college right now. I'm like, okay. I talked to her about what she wanted to do, and she's doing digital marketing. I was like, okay, I can see how that is something that's beneficial. But when my kids go into it, I'm trying to be able to build something with a family legacy so that they have a different way to be able to produce money if they don't go the route that they want to go. So like a buddy of mine, I just met with him yesterday. He invented a couple products. His son didn't go to college. His son works for him, and it's going to further on his business. Okay.
So you're okay. You keep going back to your kids and this and that. That's great. But the thing is, I want to know, give me some ideas. Let's just not talk about like, I want my kids to learn this. What are the ideas that we need to spend this money that's wasteful money that's being used by our government? What are ideas that we could use these billions of dollars for to help educate our kids more? Give me real ideas, not just I want them to do this.
I'm saying we can stick to the basics of learning, and you're teaching kids how to learn. Like math, I think math is very beneficial, and math is very, very, very beneficial because a friend of mine was a math teacher. He said he hit this kid, and it was brilliant what he said. The kid was like, I don't want to do this math because it doesn't make any sense. X + 2 and all this other stuff. And he was like, what math is, I'm teaching you how to do is to solve a problem. Because like later on in life, you're driving, my tire blows out, I got to make it to work. And some people just shut down and their whole life is done because they have so many different problems. They don't have the ability to process and solve a problem. So math in school, 2 + 2 = 4. And then after that, we make the problem more complex and more complex and more complex. And we need to let kids know it's not about this equation that I need you to learn because I don't see this equation happening in your life. But it teaches you the ability to be able to learn how to solve a problem. So let's be real with our kids. When it goes to English and writing and reading and everything like that, it's like, hey, you know what? I want you to be able to read so you can be able to comprehend something and then be able to give it back. And these are the different reasons why. So I think it's just explaining to him. So yes, school is all the same, but I don't think it should be pinpointed on anything in particular. It's just teaching your kids how to learn. And then after that, then we can decide where we want to go after.
But I guess I didn't get the answer from him. We'll get it from you possibly. Is what are things that we could bring into our education system? If we are getting rid of the federal government education system, what are things that you would like to see us spend that money on in terms of the Department of Education for the kids?
The teachers. That was my answer.
No, but what? Like what programs?
No, it's
like what programs are we teaching them?
I think
just
more-
math, reading.
We don't need new programs. All the programs are the same. Our teachers are being underpaid, so they don't give a shit. They're just out there throwing stuff down and saying, "Go."
Well,
in most
that's true as
communities.
well. But I think there's two. Yes, pay the teachers more, but as far as what should we be implementing into school, I agree with you Bobby, to the degree that we need to teach them real life skills on how to go out there and make money, how to earn a living. And I think when they reach a certain age, hopefully we can help guide them. I think coding and tech, right? Like we all know tech is the future and it's the present and it's growing, and kids learning, becoming engineers. You know how much money those guys make right out of school, or don't even go to college. If you're a good, highly recruited, there's, because my wife was in HR in San Jose and in Silicon Valley, and there are like bidding wars over these engineers. It's like the best job to have in tech is to be an engineer, right? So if you have a young, a student who was drawn to that and excels in that field, let's take them there and teach them how to code. And we have some students that are going to be better off as cooks, chefs, as mechanics. So I'm all about, less random facts and knowledge that's not even going to help you make money, and more about, hey, let's prepare you for the real world, because not everyone's going to go to college. Yeah, right. We know that. So maybe
and college is not the end all be all either, as we're finding out more and more these days.
Right. Well, you said it. All those people in Silicon Valley that are looking. You said there's a waiting list for people trying to get on, right? Yeah. If you graduate college, if I tell you, okay, while you're waiting to get on there, you should teach. They're like, hell no, I'm not going to teach because there's no money in it. But then if we put more money into it, that could be your entry level position into something. So you go through college, and whatever business you're in, even if you have a business management, if you're saying, okay, my entry level position is going to a college or high school and teaching at a high school where I'm making money that justifies my extra 4 to 6 years of schooling after high school, then I'm going to do it. And then now we're looking at businesses actually recruiting from a teaching sector, because now they not only went through the school, but what is teaching? Teaching is learning twice. Yeah. Now you have even furthered your education through teaching in high school, but you don't feel like an idiot that you spent an extra 4 years in college or 6 years in college and you came back and you're getting paid $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. You can actually get paid what you should be getting paid to do it all the way across the board.
Yeah, I guess for me, I was looking for more of like an answer that was more like, okay, what programs can we actually implement in here? Like teaching your kids how to open a checking account, teaching your kids how to balance a checkbook, teaching your kids how to buy their first house, understanding what the paperwork says when you're reading over the contract for purchasing a house. Like all of these type of things that never get taught in school, never get talked about in school. Literally, like you're talking, we're still teaching our kids about the history of Texas, the history of California, the history of the United States, the World War I, World War II. Like, I understand there's some benefits to that, so we don't repeat history, but I think that having other programs that actually give the kids the opportunity to understand how to use a saw, understand how to use mechanics, understand how to, like you said, coding. If you put a kid in front of some sort of coding right now, not all kids would understand this. Like, public schools, I don't see a lot of it going on here in Texas. I didn't see it in California either, and we paid for private school there. So teaching your kids how to code, understanding what coding is and how it develops and shapes, the world that we live in. I don't even think we're at that level yet.
Yeah, well, we've looked into coding classes. They're so expensive. They're more expensive than any sport, any athletic hobby or team or practice or whatever. It's way more expensive. We've looked into it. We've taken, there's a coding school right around the corner from where we live, and we went in and did the free intro class, and Ollie loved it. And it's super basic. It's just problem solving, real basic equations, moving stuff around. So that's how they get you going, and that's where you start from, and that's how you just continue to move up in that system. But it's there. I mean, you have to go out and seek it, but I think that's more of a new school kind of thing, so to speak,
How much of those things do we think we need? I understand all those things. I think when you go past it, when you get to college and everything like that, I think it's a little bit more, I guess it's needed a little bit more, because like in Colorado where we live, there was a school right down the street from us, and my ex, he was trying to get our kids to go to, because they were learning how to like grow a garden and everything like that, and it was a very kind of like holistic school, but that's what they were very focused on. And I was just like, So now you're going to have parents have to make that decision as to, is this the route that I want to send my kid, or do I want my kids to go this route? So I think the specialty part is a little bit tricky.
Yeah,
I think,
that's true.
I think that just like, I really go back to just the ability to learn, because, not all the time do parents teach their kids, but you can help kind of guide them. Just if your kid has the ability to learn coming out of high school, then we could talk about, all right, where do we want to go from here? What sparks your interest? Do you want to go into more of the computer field? Do you want to go into the more of a management field? Do you want to go into all these different fields of real estate or anything like that? Then yes, you can do it. And if you want to do it, then you have the ability to learn how and grasp that knowledge and to be able to use that knowledge.
It's all starting earlier though, just like we say with sports, right? How it's changed. You got to specialize, and it's getting so intense. And I think it's all that. I think that applies to a lot of different things. It's all starting earlier. Mm-hmm. You going to this coding school, and there's several. I drive by a lot of them. They're popping up in a lot of places, and you go in there, and there's really young kids in there learning at a rapid rate, learning high level stuff. And I got a good feeling when they graduate from high school and college, they're going to be ahead of the kids as far as getting a very high paying job. They're going to be ahead of the kids who aren't in that field, that don't have that knowledge, who are still trying to figure out, what do I want to do? Because that's preparing you to jump right into, hey, there's a bunch of tech companies out there that are going to want to hire you, as opposed to, I got a business degree. Like, I agree. Yeah. What does that even mean? Right?
It means you could be a pro wrestler to me.
Right. And to your point, Josh, about, well, what about a checkbook? Like, to me, that's what college was about. And I think we've talked about this before. Yeah. To me, college was about growing up. It wasn't about what am I going to learn, because there's very few things I'm using today that I picked up in college. College was about growing up. It was, to me, when you see a diploma, okay, this guy put it together enough to show up to class.
You made it through.
Right.
With
it's
all the
like
obstacles.
A rite of passage you went through, and that's all that tells me. It doesn't really tell me how smart you are, of course, unless you went to like an Ivy League school or Stanford. Outside of that, if, hey, this kid went to UT, it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. But it doesn't really say, like, just means, hey, you're responsible. You were responsible enough to get through college.
Right.
Right. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess where I'm at on it is, and these are just basic things that I was talking about, but I'm saying getting the kids in middle school and high school, things that have been taken away, like shop class was taken away, home ec class was taken away, where kids learned how to sew and cook, and they learned how to do wood crafts. They learned how to do mechanical work. All that stuff has been taken out of our schools. That's not available in our schools anymore. So now whether it's evolving with the times, because yeah, sure, maybe there's less of them out there, but I'm sorry, we still drive around in vehicles. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like these kids don't know how to, these kids don't know how to program a vehicle. They don't have it's all run by a computer now, but they don't know how to fix their car. Most of them don't know how to change a tire. So why are these things not still available in our class, in our classes?
I'll play devil's advocate because I
never.
No, I think let's play devil's advocate because like certain things like that is like when my son is asking me different things, I'm like, Miles, go do this. He's like, well, how do I do it? Go to YouTube. Like little things like that. It can walk you through the steps. And then like shop class and different things like that. I understand, like I enjoyed that when I was in school. Like we made a little lunchbox. We made little different things like that. I believe all that knowledge is important to be able to use tools and everything like that. But I think that some people are saying, I don't want to waste my time on that. If my kid wants to do that or a kid wants to learn that, then he can learn it later. Or he can like basically go to TikTok or YouTube or anything like that and learn that. I don't want to allocate time in school to do that. I think it still should be an elective. And I like the way that we had it before. I don't know if it's the same way now because like right now electives, there's not all those different electives. But when you're in school, that's what electives are for. It's like you got to pick a certain amount of electives. And I thought that was cool because when we were going through school before, because I look at how my kids pick and stuff, they don't have all those. But if you have those electives now where it is a wood shop class or one of those classes, then I have the option to pick it. And some kids want to do it, some kids don't. But that's why it's an elective.
Yeah, kids don't want to do it because it's not cool, right? Like I had a friend who was just complaining to me about the fact that he's having a hard time recruiting a lot of these skilled laborers and tradesmen, because they're like, man, kids these days just don't want to do these things because they're not cool. They'd rather be an influencer or something along those lines, right? They want to be famous and make this easy money, right? As it appears to be. So we're not getting, and I would love to see the numbers on this, but I feel like, the world, not everyone is meant to be an engineer, right? Not every kid is going to go in that direction, get those jobs, head in that field. Some, like I said, we still need cooks. Hopefully they can be chefs one day. We still need skilled laborers, carpenters, right? Union gigs. There's a carpenters union and
plumbers union, electrical union. Like
those guys make good money.
Yeah, man. We all learn real estate. When I'm flipping houses, man, you know how hard it is to find people. And the people that you do find, they're shooting their prices up all the way up to the roof because they're like, I stay busy all the time.
Yeah.
To unclog your drain, it's $2,000. I'm like, $2,000? What are you talking about? It's like, why don't you just think it? I'm sure but he's like, I'm the only one in town.
Yeah.
So his prices go up. So yeah, there is a definite need for that. But that's when we go back as parents and say, hey, Miles, let's pick up a couple of these other trades that we know can be beneficial later on in life, not as a fallback, but saying, hey, you can make a really good life.
And I think that's the challenge because growing up, dream big, right? You can be anything. Like, I want to be a pro athlete. I want to be president of the United States. I want to be the CEO of my tech company. I want to, and then you grow older and then kind of things fall into place. And I don't want to say, maybe it's for lack of a better expression, reality kind of sets in and you're like, I'm not going to be that. Yeah. So how do I graduate high school and make a living? Right? If I'm not going to college, like what do I do? Because this dream big, let's face it, it comes to a point where, and I think we'll have to, as parents, identify that and say, yeah, you're not going to be the pro athlete that we dreamt of when we were growing up. You're not going to be this or that. You're more likely going to, your personality and your skill set, it's very likely that we got to take you here. And to me, that's a little depressing, right? The dream's over. And now let's focus on reality and grow up. And perhaps that's what being a grown-up is, or growing up is realizing this is who I am and this is what I'm going to do, and I got to go after it. So it's kind of sobering, right? Because now, as having a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, you can be anything you want to be. And there's certain truth to that.
And I was talking to my sister a couple of weeks back, and I didn't know how to it was a conversation about her son. Her son's a good kid, but in high school he didn't want to play any sports. And I have a different opinion on that. I'm thinking the social aspect. And he's a big kid. He was pretty athletic too, but he just started working all the way through high school. This kid's working until 10, 11 o'clock at night. He's a junior right now, and he goes from high school to working, and he loves working because now he has money and he's getting money. And then she started talking to him later, and we talked about it because he's going to be graduating next year. And I was like, so what are you going to do? And she's like, I told him that he shouldn't go to college. He should just come and work at the plant, because my sister was like a manager at the Goodyear plant. And she was like, well, he'll start out making $27 an hour. And I was like, at first I was just like, this, it was hard for me, because I was like, I don't want to just throw him into like a worker position and then his whole life is just going to be working. I guess that's just hard for me, because I want to think bigger. But like you said, we need people in there, and it is a good job. So it's hard when you're getting pulled both ways, because you have certain people that are saying, hey, let's do better for your life, because that's what you hear everywhere. Let's do better. Let's dream big. Let's get this. Let's get that. So you push kids that way. But at the same time, that is a good life. You know,
Right.
Starting out $27 an hour as a kid, where he can work his way up to a manager position and actually work his way up. So I guess it's hard, man, because you see different people doing stuff and you're like, man, I want to be that guy. But I mean, there's different levels to everything.
We have cool jobs, right? And you guys in particular have accomplished a lot individually in the world of sports, right? So in your minds, anything really is possible, right? You've been a world champion. You are currently a world champion. And Josh, you were, right? So it's that mentality of never give up. You can do anything. People told me I couldn't win this belt, and you did. But that's, I mean, like I said, the reality is it's not, it hits a certain point for people, and especially kids turning into adults where, hey, I'm not going to be a world champion. So now what do I do to set myself up to have a family one day and to be a productive member of society?
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to be that dream, I had as a kid.
You swing for the fence, and sometimes you strike out. A lot
So
of
do
times
you
strike out?
This is kind of sort of with going. So do y'all tell your kids that, or do you? I feel like in this society right now, everybody thinks that they're important. You're important. You're a superstar. You're whatever. You tell your kids that. You tell your friends that. You tell whatever. You can do whatever, like you're saying. Is there a moment that y'all will tell your kids, like, "Hey, let's be real. You're not going to become this or whatever," or do you always just kind of? Because you never really know, right? Like
I'm personally in the as long as I have breath, I'm going to be telling my kids to shoot for the top. I don't care what you do. I mean, if you start out going to Goodyear, working $27 an hour, I'm going to say, how do we make it up to a management position? Like, don't just sit here and stay here. Let's evolve. You have to evolve in life, and that's what I'm big on. It doesn't matter what you do. Like, I have friends that are real estate agents. I'm like, you can't stay as a real estate agent your entire life. You should look at owning the agency and then turning into an investor, and then you keep leveling up. Because how are you going to tell me about investing in a property and you're not doing it after being in here for 10, 15, 20 years? Then it's like, why are you trying to teach me? So I'm thinking there's always a mode of leveling up. And I think I'm going to tell my kids to always try to find that way to get to that next position.
And maybe that's what high school, right? The more that I think about it, that we have this conversation and the questions you're asking, Josh, I mean, maybe that's what high school is ultimately for, right? Is sending them in this direction. Because you've learned over these 4 years, now that you're becoming an adult, in many cases you will graduate as an adult. This is kind of the path that I've discovered for me, that at least I'll try, right? In school, this is what I want to major in, or this is the school that I want to go to, or I'm not even going to go to school, right? I'm going to go do something else, go straight to work or pursue something else. But
I feel like the kids right now are in this this area where they have to grow up faster. Like, there's just no other option. Like you were saying, like, I was figuring it out, how to balance a checkbook, do all these things when I was in college. Well, that's now. Kids are making money now, sometimes on YouTube channels.
But their parents
10, 12.
are doing all that for them. They're running the business.
I mean, so parents are running the business, but my point is that like these kids, that's how they end up getting taken advantage of by their parents. That's one. Two is like they ultimately want to be able to make their own decisions at that middle school or high school level. So they're having to learn a lot faster and a lot younger how to take care of their finances, and not just let them sit on the side. They need to learn a little bit faster. I think in us, we did it in college. Like this has to, the kids are having to grow up a lot faster. So what are we doing to help them with their grow up process? And I guess ultimately I'm going back to, this all came out with the Doge thing. What can we use this money now? This billions of dollars, maybe even up to $1 trillion that's just being wastefully spent by our government. What can we do to help better, not just America, like parents' lives or families' lives, but our kids' lives? Because ultimately the long-term goal is to make it easier for our kids, is to have our kids be so knowledgeable in everything, whether that's coding, whether that's crafts, whether that's whatever, farming, doesn't matter. Like what can we do to provide options for our kids with this, basically this newfound bank account that we have, and
make things sexier.
Right. And my answer to that has been, and just to be clear, it's helping them find their path.
Yeah.
You go be a mechanic. You love cars.
Yeah.
But being a mechanic is cool. We need less influencers, and more mechanics, and more cooks and chefs, and more carpenters, and more.
But what I'm saying is, how do we incorporate this into our public school systems so parents are not having to come out of pocket? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like right now, we took away all those options. Mechanics
so I'm
class,
saying put it back.
Yeah, okay,
because it probably got taken away because of funding.
Yeah.
So now
that's exactly why. I mean, like wrestling programs are now non-existent in most high schools because they don't produce any money.
I'm paying. My son was like, I gotta go put money in for weightlifting. I was like, what? For the football team. He's on the football team. I gotta pay like a few $100s for him to go into strength and conditioning on the football team. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So I think, and nobody's gonna have the answer, but I think once the economy starts growing and starts being, and there's more money in here.
That's weird to me.
What?
Like you go to a public school, we pay tons of money in taxes for your kids to use the facility for weightlifting, and he's playing football, a sport that brings in revenue. Why are you paying? This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like the amount of money that we pay in taxes, the amount of money that our schools are spending, like, but a lot of these programs are being stopped. There's not a lot of, female softball teams. There's not a lot of, female volleyball teams. There's not a lot of wrestling teams in high schools. If the sport does not generate money for the school, then they obviously have gotten rid of that. All of the other home ec and the wood crafts and the mechanics and all that stuff was obviously, it cost money to run, but that was all taken away. A majority of the schools don't have that anymore. What can we do? Coding. Why do we not have coding in our public schools? That should be something that is, because it's so expensive to pay privately. Why is that? If we know that is such a big deal worldwide in the tech industry, why are we not putting that into our public schools? I would love for my tax dollar to go towards that. Teaching our kids something that I don't know how to code. Do you know how to code? Do you have any idea how to code?
No.
Okay. So why is like majority of parents in our era have no concept of how to code? None. So why that is something that we should be putting into.
I'm sorry, this is my ignorance. Coding for what?
Well, it's
writing code to build programs and tech. Like behind every app, behind every all this tech is code. And so these are these really smart people that are designing and writing and doing all that. So when you use your app and you're making purchases or doing all these things, the various algorithms, it's just it's a whole different language.
Like I have a sister, right? So I bought a little Dell laptop. This was over 10 years ago. I bought a little Dell laptop. She basically hacked the code, changed the code in certain formats, and made it an Apple. Because it was so much easier to use. Apple was an easier platform. So I bought a $180 little tiny Dell computer. It was literally like a little tiny, 5x6 or 6x6, inch little laptop. She hacked it with the code, made it an Apple. I did all the Apple apps were on it. It didn't get viruses because Apple doesn't get viruses. So just started using that. Same, like she basically created, she works for a couple banking industries. Used to work for Wells Fargo, now works for this other company now. They brought her in basically she wrote code that brings all of the platforms together throughout their company so that when you input something in one spot, it goes automatically where it needs to go. Like you and I were talking about, like if there's an expense on something the bank used, she wrote the code that brought that right into where they needed to it for their financials for the end of the year or monthly or end of the year. So it breaks it out. So it basically makes it easier. Anybody across the company inputs something, it automatically now goes to where it needs to go because of the code that she wrote for their website or for their whatever.
Drop into one of these schools. They're everywhere now. It's pretty interesting.
Cody?
Like we went to like I said, we went to the free intro class and Ollie had a good time. And then we just didn't have the time commitment. And it's it's over $300 a month.
Just for the class in school?
No, outside.
Outside of school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Private.
See, that's my point. My point is like, why is that not in our schools?
There's so many of those places outside of school.
Outside of school.
Right. And the reason why is because if I'm an educator, I can go into school and make little or nothing, or I can open up my own private business because you see them all over the place, from tutoring to math to everything. They're out there because they're like, I can make more money this way. That's why I think if we make the teaching job sexier, let's funnel money into just the teachers. That way, like I said before, you graduate with a coding degree. You say, okay, there's this waiting list to get into one of these big tech companies, but at the time I can go into the high school and I can teach. Now these high schoolers are getting like coding, but now this coding guy that spent all this extra time in college is getting justified, getting paid what he should get paid. And now he's able to go there. And teachers across the board are putting more into their schools because now they're getting money for what they're doing. And I think, man, because and like with my son, they're having to pay for weight training, right? Why are they paying for that? Because there's a coach that's making an extra stipend to be able to teach that. And they're like, well, we got to find a way to pay him. We don't have anything in the school budget. So let's just have the kids pay. So that's what they're doing. So I think
in that case, it's to me a justified expense if you're paying for someone's time and they're...
I'm okay with it. But like what he's saying is like, if we're putting more money into education, then we have that money there that we don't have to pull it from the parents. The schools are going to have that money based on our tax dollars or whatever. They're going to have that money in there. So now the teachers are getting paid more and they're going to be more involved. Like these teachers, some of these teachers are involved just because they have the heart to be involved. Some of them are like, man, it's almost 3 o'clock. I got to sit here and babysit until 3 o'clock and get out of
Just
here.
Because I don't get paid enough.
I don't care. I'm not going to put any more effort into this thing and get involved in these kids' life and make sure these kids are learning what they have to learn. If you don't learn, I don't care. Go on to the next and bring on the next kids. And because that's how it is. There's nothing in there. Like my niece is a teacher in North Carolina, and she's tutoring after school. And she even talked to me. She was like, Uncle Bobby, you know, I love teaching, but I can't even pay my bills. I live in Charlotte. I can't even pay my friggin' bills. And she's teaching the little kids, which that's the hardest ones to teach because you're coming from nothing. You're having to teach these kids from ground zero. So man, these teachers are just not making any money. And I was almost telling her, I was like, damn, my kids love you. She's an amazing kid. She's young. I said, man, I would pay you more than that just to come and stay at my house and
but then some TikTok star is making like millions by just going behind people and scaring them and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why kids are, like I said, we need less influencers and more.
But is it too late?
No, it's not because the way that the government is going right now, what Trump's saying is that he's trying to build up America, and I like the things that he's saying. I hope it can work the way that he's saying it. If we're bringing more money in, he talked about ending federal tax. Yeah. And everybody's like, he's just trying to save money for the billionaires. Like, no, man, everybody's going to benefit from that. And then you're going to have that option to maybe go on vacation because you have a little bit of extra money. Because people think, oh, but I want my tax return. Okay, dummy, you understand that you're getting taxes taken out of everything that you do all the way throughout the year?
Can you imagine we if that goes through, we don't pay state income tax already here?
Jeez.
And no federal at that point?
Please.
I'm sure they would find a way. Like they would. they would get it somewhere else
Well,
in different ways. But man, that'd be crazy to not pay any taxes at all.
man.
Well, I mean, like I said, when you start looking at the numbers and which is wasteful spending, it makes sense. It makes sense on
You could do it.
and then also too, if you start charging, I know I know a lot of people are against tariffs, but people have to remember. I want to say it was, I want to say it was like in like early 1900s, I think, something like that. It was like somewhere around that in 19 something. Anyways,
Where's all the money, Josh?
Yeah,
where's all the money? I don't know, bro. Bobby, where's all the money?
Well, we used to not charge income tax. We used to not charge income taxes. And then we also had stopped tariffs on other countries that were basically paying for our country. And that's kind of, it seems like the avenue in which Trump is trying to go. I don't know how it's going to work out. Things are obviously different. Times have changed. But I mean, if you're just going line by U.S. aids, their information that's been released just by them, they're not counting about the Treasury Department. They're not counting about our military misuse. They're not counting for any of that stuff yet. I mean, there was a couple of them that I was reading just as of recently, just right here. I mean, just some of this wasteful spending. You've got $31 million to a consultant help USAID employees with counseling, organizational resilience, and wellness of work life. And $29 million to improve skills of young female Egyptians in the manufacturing departments. $44.5 million to fight disinformation in Kazakhstan, and $2 million for activity and strengthening trans-led organizations to deliver gender affirmation healthcare and in Guatemala. These are all things that are millions of dollars. I'm just simply saying, like, if you refocus that money and that energy towards building programs for our children and giving them options. I'm not just simple. I know I keep going back to workshop and mechanic and home ec, and but I'm simply saying, like, anything. Give your kids options, whether it's sports, whether it's coding, whether it's some sort of tech job, whatever it is. It could be anything. But giving your kids options and the ability to learn those options in middle school and in high school, I think you're going to see a lot prosperous United States. And the kids, obviously, I think will enjoy it more. You'll give them options at a young age to really expand their thinking and their horizons.
Yeah, I agree. And it has to be made sexier. Like sexier meaning, like you said, not just I don't want to be just a YouTuber or something like that. Like those other jobs could be really cool, but it's like you don't see the plumber driving up in a Ferrari.
Yeah, you're right.
But if you start making some of these professions better and you start bringing more money into the people, then we can spend more. Spending is going and everything's going. Like we have to lower the price of houses so that we can be able to fix them and be able to rent them so that it makes sense. But if we didn't have to do that, then people get paid more to fix them because we can rent it more because people have more money to be able to spend in houses, and everything goes. I think everything goes together. If we all have more money, everybody's going to have more money. Mm-hmm. But we have to keep it in here. We have to keep it in the United States. So I like what some people are like tariffs and all this other stuff, and we're trying to. No, man, it's like let's build up this country. My ex was telling me yesterday, she was like, "You got any extra clothes and everything like that? It's money because we want to send it out to this country because they have all this stuff." And she's telling me this, and I was like, "Nah, there's a shelter right here, and it's a shelter for men that are trying to be able to have suits and to be able to go get a good job and everything like that. I got a ton of suits. I said I'm taking it over there. Yeah, they're gonna have to chop it up a little bit, but." I have shoes, shoes, and clothes.
Let me take a look at what you're giving away first before you give it away.
Talking about suits. Some homeless people are going to be wearing Versace. Hey, can I get some money?
Let me get first dibs on that,
look
bro.
the part. You know what question I loved it. I heard, and I want to hear you guys' take on it. Which came first, the suit or the job? Which comes first? I mean, there's no wrong answer. You're gonna have a justification.
No, it's the
for
chicken
either
and the
one.
egg. Yeah.
It's which one's more important? And here's my take on it. I said the job.
Yeah, that's my first thought.
I said the job because that's where I came from. Like I came from using my hands and scraping and clawing and making it until I can get a suit. And I think that, and this is just my opinion, and it could be completely wrong. I was like, the people that try to get the suit first, it's like they're almost like faking it and not putting any substance behind it. And they may not even value the job because they didn't look at what it takes to get up there. That's just my perspective. But you could pick either one and have your take on it and your reason for it. But for me, it was always the job came first. And then I'll work up to get my suit. And that's what I did in my life.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Like, I think ultimately what I'm trying to get to is hopefully this whole thing with the Doge thing opens up new avenues for especially our youth, not just in school, but also in sports programs, activities, development throughout our communities to help give our kids a better avenue to learn. That's the ultimate goal, I think, if you want to have a successful country, is learning to educate your children. And that will just grow because those kids will then later on be able to educate their children and so forth and so on. So those are the most important parts for me in this whole finding. I know a lot of people want to take it to the political, Democrats and conservatives. I say screw all that. If you're not happy about the extra funding that's being found and discovered and the potential of not having to pay more in taxes for yourself and for others that are struggling to get by, then maybe you should look in the mirror and decide whether you're part of the problem. But I think in this situation, this scenario, I think it's a very amazing thing to see that all of this money could be actually pushed back into our kids, into our families, into our communities for a better growth for everybody in this country. So I'm looking forward to see what happens next.
Yep, I agree. Kids don't have a political party, man.
Nope.
They're just kids.
And the transparency is a big thing
Yeah.
also. So I think it will be going to the right place with the right kind of transparency.
Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button.